taken to social media to share their concerns over a sign posted outside a church. Our Ayanna Willoughby takes us to Hazel Green and gives us the details.
Some members of the community are outraged after seeing a sign here at a local church in Hazel Green, Alabama. A Reddit user made a post about the message on the welcome sign of Carter's Grove Baptist Church. The sign reads, "Pride Month, sounds about right." And then it includes a scripture from Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18 that says, "Pride goeth before destruction."
I can definitely see both sides. So the way I first read it was honestly thinking that they were in support of pride.
The user who made the initial post on Reddit highlighted how this could offend members of the LGBTQIA community. Others think there's nothing wrong with the sign.
It makes me feel like the community is coming together and people are seeing different points of view from everybody else, and I feel like the church is being very supportive towards the pride and LGBTQ+ community.
We reached out to Carter's Grove Baptist Church for a comment and have not heard back. Putting the Valley first, Ayanna Willoughby, WZDX News.